This is a demonstration of the request a repair functionality for online repairs. Now, as you can see, this is our start screen. It's currently branded up for the Newark and Sherwood District Council service. On the first page you get to, it's got basic information about what you can sort of repairs you can request. It also has direct exit points out. So this covers things like emergency repairs and gas leaks, where actually there's another method of contact that's preferred. So especially for emergency repairs, it's directing them to make a phone call immediately through the repairs page information, or gas leaks, which requires a separate phone call to a different service, which is beyond the council service. So as you go further down the page, you'll notice you've got the report to repair, nice big start now button. Below that, you've also got the option to change or cancel a repair. I'll come up onto a separate demonstration of that in a little while. So by clicking on Start Now, the next thing page is about directing people out of the service as quickly as possible if they can't raise the repair online. So this is a quick summary of options that just give people an idea that if they click on them, basically it's likely that it's an emergency repair. So for example, I have no heating. It would be an emergency, or it could be an emergency, so it's directing them to the phone call. We've got options there which can be programmed in for if you've got different contact details, for whether it's in hours or out of hours services. Also, further examples of what would actually be classed as an emergency repair, and the ability to go back for my problem is not an emergency, which then would take you on to the next stage of the journey. But what I will do is just go back. So from that, repair could be an emergency page. The others are all very similar, apart from the bottom one, which is something else. So again, this is back to the page we had before. So is this problem in a communal area? This page is here to help differentiate the lists of addresses and properties as to whether it's residential or whether it's a communal area, such as within a block of flats, or it might even be a play park or a community hall. So I'm doing a tenant journey at this point, so I'm going to click no. And then the next one is just a guide to get information as to whether people are a council tenant or not. It's going to be an interesting one, this one slightly, because although it's been tested and tested well, we have had feedback from other areas that do you pay that some people class this as or some people consider themselves not to be council tenants if their rent is paid by housing benefit, so they don't actually pay any rent, but due to the limitations on the research times, this is something that we may have to look into in a future phase. But for the moment, because I'm a tenant, yes, I pay rent to the council. I'll continue. Now the next area is putting your property postcode. So I've got one to hand. And I can search and it will bring up a list of properties that we have with that postcode. It reaffirms the postcode here, so you can actually know if you can't find your address. Actually, that gives you a clue that either maybe you're possibly in the wrong area or that your address isn't listed. So I'm just select an address and move on in the journey. Now, next we move into the triage stage. And this is up to a three-stage process where we actually select and do a basic diagnosis of the issue so that it can actually find the SOR code in the background. So I think we'll go for a kitchen issue. And here you get different options. A lot of these are the same. So actually, if you go into bedroom or kitchen, you still have heating, you still have electrical, you still have walls, you still have door options. So a lot of the same, but in kitchens, you'll get things like the cupboards, worktops. In the bathroom, you'll get sinks, toilets, etc. So I'll go for a cupboard door. Go down and just click continue. Now I've got, let's have a missing door. And here you actually get to describe your problem in more detail. So this is a free text field, and the free text does actually pass through to DRS so that you can actually see what the problem is. And the hint text really is encouraging people to try and put in some more information. So actually, if it's a tap, well, is it the hot tap? Is it the cold tap? Is it a mixer tap? For a kitchen cupboard, well, it's damaged, but is it a drawer front? Is it a cupboard door? For a communal area, it might be a case of, well, actually, whereabouts in the communal area is it? We do have a character limit on it. This is limited by the character limits within DRS, which is the linked appointment booking service system that is used. So that's why we have a character limit here. Next, you can choose to upload a photo of the problem if you want to. It can certainly help. We have some standard file types. Can only have one photo at the moment. That's something we may look into increasing in future, but at least one gives the ability to have a rough idea of what's going on and should help with potential for speedier repairs. So next is actually choosing your appointment slot. You're shown up to 5 days. The appointment slots can match what you have within your system. So we operate a morning and afternoon slot and also a school run slot. So it avoids the key school run time. So which is why we have 3. Lincoln, for example, have I think it's 2. Others have 4. So it might be a morning, afternoon, all day plus a school run, or you may have sort of shorter periods depending on what suits you. All the dates and times available, although we've got full flexibility here, partly because it's linked into the test system. If you've only got limited availability, it will show the slots where it's, especially where it's green or where it's amber within DRS, for minimizing distance and for ensuring there's sufficient time availability. So I'm just going to select one of my appointment slots here. You can also show the next 5 days as well, or the next 5 days with available appointments. The one thing it does do as well is it's looking for appointment slots within the agreed SLAs. So if your next available appointments are going outside of the SLA agreements, then it would, I think it's normally instructs you to ring in. So what we will do is we will just have a confirmation of the appointment. Just put a number in here. And also then we're asking, can we call that number if we need to get in touch? So this is really if we need more information, and it may actually be that the telephone number provided to get more information may be different from the telephone number to confirm the appointment. But in this case, I'm just going to do the same number. And again, we actually show the number to them just to minimize the amount of effort required by tenants to actually input data. There's no point in getting them to enter the same set of details twice. Now, this is the final page where you get a summary of all the requests. So you've got your actual repair address, all the details, and your appointment details. And then at this point, you get your request repair button, which you click, and then it will provide you with your repair number, and it will send a text confirmation using gov.notify service, either by text, or if you selected email, it will send it to the email address. And there's your repair ID.